A video posted in January 2018. A massive electric semi-truck gliding down a desert highway. Smooth, fast, silent. The caption reads, "Behold, the Nikola One in motion." Within months, the company is worth $30 billion, more than Ford. General Motors offers $2 billion for a partnership. Trevor Milton becomes a billionaire. A federal jury will later convict him on 3 counts of fraud. A federal judge will sentence him to 4 years in prison. But Milton will never go to prison. He'll donate $1.8 million to Donald Trump. And Trump will erase everything. 2 years before that pardon, a short seller named Hindenburg Research drives to the exact location where the viral video was filmed. A 3% grade hill on the Mormon Trail, Utah. They put a car in neutral at the top. It rolls. 56 miles per hour. No gas pedal, no engine. Just gravity. The truck in that video wasn't driving. It was falling. This is how Trevor Milton fooled General Motors, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and a federal jury, and walked away free. 3 things you need to know. First, this wasn't Milton's first fraud. 6 years before Nikola, he ran a company called dHybrid Systems. Swift Transportation paid him $2 million to retrofit their trucks. He delivered 5. The investors got back less than 7 cents on the dollar. Second, the video that made Milton a billionaire was technically not a lie. The caption never said "under its own power." It just said "in motion." A truck rolling downhill is in motion. Technically true. Completely dishonest. Third, at Milton's trial, the prosecutor stood up in front of the jury and said 5 words. Trevor Milton is a con man. The jury agreed. The judge ordered Milton to pay $660 million in restitution. Trump's pardon erased every dollar. The most damning evidence at Milton's trial wasn't the fake video. It was something Milton's own chief financial officer revealed about Milton's real motivation. We'll come back to that. 2014. Trevor Milton runs a company called dHybrid Systems. The pitch? Convert diesel trucks to natural gas. Swift Transportation, one of the largest trucking companies in America, pays him $2 million up front, plus a $322,000 loan. Milton spends the money. He delivers 5 test conversions. Just 5. Swift sues for breach of contract. Then Milton does something brilliant. He sells dHybrid to Worthington Industries for nearly $16 million. The Swift lawsuit settles. The investors get less than 7 cents on the dollar. A few months later, Milton flies 30 of his friends to Hawaii for his birthday. All expenses paid. The dHybrid playbook would become the Nikola playbook. Same year, Milton starts a new company. He calls it Nikola, after Nikola Tesla. The pitch is genius. Tesla took the inventor's last name. We took his first. Tesla makes cars. We make trucks. Hydrogen-powered. 0 emissions. The future. Within 2 years, Milton raises $44 million. But he doesn't have a truck. He has sketches. He has renderings. According to the federal indictment, weeks before the public unveiling, Nikola's chief engineer told Milton the truck would not be functioning. He recommended postponing the event. The gearboxes were empty, the motors weren't installed, the cooling system didn't exist, the hydrogen fuel cell hadn't been ordered. Milton ignored the warning. He was going to unveil the Nikola One, whether it worked or not. December 1st, 2016. Salt Lake City Convention Hall. The lights go down. Trevor Milton walks on stage. Behind him, covered in white fabric, sits the Nikola One. He addresses the doubters. For every doubter out there that said there's no way this is true, we've done it. This is a real truck. This is not a pusher. The truck doesn't work. The hydrogen fuel cell doesn't exist. The motors aren't installed. The control system is missing. The truck on stage is plugged into a wall outlet. A power cord runs underneath. That's how it has lights. That's it. After the unveiling, Milton claims 7,000 pre-orders, $2.3 billion in potential revenue. Nobody verifies it, because Milton looks confident, and confidence sells. But Milton has a new problem. Investors want to see the truck drive. So Milton does what any good con artist does. He fakes it. Let me make sure you're following this. Milton just unveiled a truck plugged into a wall outlet. He's claimed $2.3 billion in pre-orders for a vehicle that has no motors. The investors have no idea. Now watch what he does next. January 25th, 2018. Trevor Milton posts a video to YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. The video shows the Nikola 1 gliding smoothly down a 2-lane desert highway. It looks fast, powerful, real. The caption? Behold, the Nikola 1 in motion. In the comments, Nikola's official account confirms the truck has over 1,000 horsepower and over 2,000 foot-pounds of torque. The video goes viral. Articles get written. The Tesla killer is real. Investors write bigger checks. Here's what nobody knew for 2.5 years. The video was a lie. Milton's team scouted a location, Mormon Trail, just south of Grantsville, Utah. A remote stretch of road, 2 miles long, perfectly straight, 3% downhill grade. They towed the truck to the top of the hill. They positioned the camera at an angle to make the road look flat. Then they released the brakes. The truck rolled. No engine, no power, just gravity. The video stayed on Nikola's website for 2.5 years, until someone finally checked. Hindenburg Research is a short seller. In September 2020, they turned their attention to Nikola. Something doesn't add up. The company is worth $30 billion, but has never delivered a single truck. They get a tip from an engineer named Paul Lackey at EV Drive. Lackey knows the truth about the video. Hindenburg doesn't take his word for it. They find the exact location. They drive to the spot. They put a vehicle in neutral at the top of the hill. It reaches 56 miles per hour. No engine, no gas, just gravity. Hindenburg writes a 76-page report. The title? Nikola. How to parlay an ocean of lies into a partnership with the largest auto OEM in America. They publish it on September 10th, 2020, 2 days after Nikola announces a $2 billion deal with General Motors. The timing is perfect. September 8th, Nikola announces the GM partnership. Milton calls it a partnership made in heaven. September 10th, Hindenburg publishes. The stock crashes. September 20th, Milton resigns. November 30th, GM cancels the deal. No equity, no partnership. In 82 days, Trevor Milton goes from a $12 billion net worth to a federal investigation. But he still owns 91 million shares of Nikola, worth $3.1 billion. Hindenburg exposed him, but Milton is still rich, and he's still free, for now. Hindenburg exposed Milton. He resigned. GM walked away. That should be the end of the story. The fraudster gets caught. Justice gets served. Except it's not the end, because the trial that comes next reveals something even worse. July 29th, 2021. The U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York files criminal charges against Trevor Milton. 3 counts: securities fraud, wire fraud, wire fraud. September 2022. The trial begins. The prosecution calls Paul Lackey, the engineer who tipped off Hindenburg. His testimony? It wasn't finished. There was a lot of things that hadn't been installed. Then they call Mark Russell, Nikola's CEO. Russell testifies that he learned only after joining the company that the Nikola 1 had neither a turbine nor a fuel cell. Russell, the CFO, Kim Brady, and Nikola's top lawyer did what Russell described as an intervention with Milton. They threatened to resign if Milton didn't step down. Then the prosecution calls Kim Brady, the CFO. And Brady drops the line that defines the entire case. Brady tells the jury about Milton's first day of trading, June 4th, 2020. Nikola goes public. The stock falls $5. Milton panics. He thinks the NASDAQ is broken. He tells Brady to call the exchange. Then Brady tells the jury about a conversation he had with Milton. Milton showed him a list of the wealthiest people in America. Milton was ranked around 270. He told Brady, "One of my goals is to be in the top 100. Brady asked, "How?" Milton's answer, "The share price would have to be higher." His own CFO told the jury, under oath, that Milton's statements could be inaccurate or exaggerated. About the GM deal Milton engineered, Brady sent a text to Russell. "This is not a good deal. We should walk away." Nikola did the deal anyway. Because Milton wanted the stock price up. Not the truck, not the technology, not the investors, the number on the screen. Then the prosecution presents the Peter Hicks deal. Hicks is a real estate investor. In April 2020, Milton calls him. He wants to buy Hicks's 4,600-acre Utah ranch. Milton tells him Nikola has $14 billion in truck orders. He tells him Nikola has a delivery contract with Anheuser-Busch. He tells him Nikola is already procuring power for hydrogen stations on 13 routes. None of it was true. Hicks accepts options worth $15 million. By December, after the Hindenburg report, those options are worthless. Hicks lost more than $7 million. October 2022. Milton's lawyer, Mark Mukasey, makes his defense. Trevor wanted to be loved and praised like Elon Musk. Then the prosecutor, Jordan Estes, stands up. She says 5 words. Trevor Milton is a con man. She finishes, lie after lie after lie. It's for less than a day. Guilty. 1 count securities fraud. 2 counts wire fraud. December 18th, 2023. Judge Edgardo Ramos sentences Milton to 4 years in prison, $1 million fine. Milton remains free on bond. He files an appeal. And then he makes a phone call. Here's where the story takes a turn nobody saw coming. Milton's lawyer is Mark Mukasey. Mukasey's co-counsel is Brad Bondi. Brad Bondi's sister is Pam Bondi, who would later become Donald Trump's attorney general. In October 2024, Trevor Milton and his wife donate $1.8 million to Donald Trump's presidential campaign. 1 month before the election. 5 months later, something happens that should shock you. March 28, 2025. Donald Trump pardons Trevor Milton. A full presidential pardon. The 4-year sentence? Erased. The $1 million fine? Waived. The $660 million in restitution? Gone. The forfeiture of the Utah ranch? Reversed. All of it. Milton posts a video on Instagram. The greatest comeback story in America is about to happen. Trumpa quote. The next day, Trump speaks from the Oval Office. A reporter asks him about the pardon. Trump's response? They destroyed 5 years of his life. And he did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. The truck plugged into a wall. The man who faked the video. The man whose own CFO testified he lied. The man whose own CEO threatened to resign. The man a federal jury convicted on 3 counts of fraud did nothing wrong. A White House official told the press, Milton's donations played absolutely no role in this decision. Maina's path. The math tells a different story. $1.8 million donated. $680 million eliminated. A return of 37,000%. Most of the people Milton defrauded will never get their money back. One of them is Liecho Sapoto, 64 years old, Salt Lake City businessman. He invested over $100,000 in Nikola. He believed Milton. He'd watched the videos. He'd seen the interviews. His words. After watching Trevor Milton so many times on television and on YouTube, I didn't want to believe it. I thought there was no way someone would come out and lie like that. Sapoto was waiting for the court-ordered restitution. Then, Trump pardoned Milton. The restitution disappeared. Sapoto's final words. I want him to understand that there were people he hurt, that there were real victims. There's that old saying that crime doesn't pay, but it sure paid off for him. September 2025. The SEC, under the Trump administration, drops its civil case against Milton. October 2025. Milton posts on LinkedIn. He's the new CEO of Cyberjet Aircraft, a private jet company. He's brought over former Nikola employees, including Kevin Link, the same chief engineer who warned Milton in 2016 that the Nikola 1 wouldn't function. Now working for Milton again. In his announcement video, Milton says, "I get to transform the aviation industry like I got to do for the transportation industry. Same language, same promises, different product." The audience for this pitch is investors. Trevor Milton is doing it again, and this time, thanks to a presidential pardon, he's doing it as a free man. So who killed Nikola? Trevor Milton did. He unveiled a truck plugged into a wall. He posted a video of a truck rolling downhill. He lied to investors for years. His own CEO testified against him. His own CFO testified against him. A federal jury found him guilty. Then he donated $1.8 million to Donald Trump. The pardon erased everything. Milton never went to prison. The investors never got their money back. Liho Sapoto got nothing. Today, Trevor Milton is running another company, Comparison. Elizabeth Holmes was convicted of the same crime as Milton. She's serving 11 years in federal prison. Sam Bankman-Fried, convicted of fraud, is serving 25 years. Trevor Milton, convicted of fraud, is a CEO. The difference? They didn't donate $1.8 million to the right person. He did. And that's all it took. The receipts are in the court filings. This isn't a broken system. It's working exactly as designed. We're tracking the next investigation now. Subscribe to see who's next. Sources are in the description.